Good day, everyone. Welcome to our class in Social Studies. This is grade 7A and 7B classes. Your teacher here, Miss Michelle Joy. This video is made especially for the students who weren't able to join our virtual class today. This video will serve as a makeup recap class for those students. Before we proceed with our online learning discussion, let's have a short review or recap of the last topics that we have discussed last week. The first one is democracy. What is democracy? Democracy is a form of government that allows people to choose their rulers. So people can choose, can vote, and can elect the leader that they like, the leader that they think will be the best for the people and for the country. Number two, principles of democracy. There are four principles of democracy. People's sovereignty is the supreme power. The king or the president is the head of the state. The governance is made under the laws, and human rights and freedom are protected by the Constitution. Class, here are the objectives of our lesson for today. The first one, students must be able to know how sovereign power is used. And the second one, students must be able to know how sovereign power is applied. So by the end of this lesson, I expect students to have understood our topics for today. Class, there are two topics to be discussed today. Letter A, how sovereign power is used, and letter B, how sovereign power is applied. Now let us read the words to learn that can help us to understand our topic even better. Please repeat after me so you can practice your reading skills and speaking skills even if you're just at home. Let's start reading now. Number one, sovereign. Number two, power. Number three, constitution. Number four, used. And number five, applied. Sovereign, it means monarch, supreme, ruler, paramount, king, queen, dominant, predominant, chief, or autonomous. Class, let's take supreme, king, and queen, and monarch as the meaning of sovereign. Meaning to say they are the highest person or people in a certain nation, a certain kingdom, or a certain country. The second word, we have power. It means strength, authority, energy, influence, command, control, capacity, might, ability, and sway. So let's take authority as its meaning and command. So when you say power, they have the authority to command. They can control what's going to happen and what's not. In our school class, the power or the authority is with our directors. Next, we have constitution. It means composition, structure, organization, build, formation, nature, makeup, establishment, physics, and disposition. So constitution, let us take the word organization or build. It means class. Constitution is a group of people that govern our country. They are the highest law in the country. No one is above the law. Even if you are the king or the queen or the prime minister or the president, you are still under the constitution because no one is above the law. Next word, used. Use means to utilize, employed, secondhand, old, hand-me-down, worn, exercised, practiced, utilized, exploited. So let us get the words exercise and practice and utilize. It means class, use or how to exercise it or how to practice it. We use it, we practice it, and we utilize it. Next, the last word, applied. Means practical, operative, handy, convenient, businesslike, rough, and ready. Applied means operative or the ways on how are you going to do things. So these are the 5 words that can help us better understand our topic for today.
For centuries, the idea of sovereignty has shaped the world. It has important domestic and international implications. Within a country, sovereignty guarantees that governments have the ultimate authority over what's going on. This authority applies to everyone who lives within a country's borders. and also whoever happens to be there. Internationally, sovereignty indicates a certain equality between countries. No matter how big or rich a country might be, sovereignty requires it to respect other countries' borders and to avoid using military force to change them. This also means that if a small, impoverished country passes a law or elects a leader who is disliked by the government of a large, wealthy country, the latter does not have the right to interfere. Although it can react as it sees fit, for example with sanctions or criticism. There are limitations, though, to just how much a government can dictate what happens within its borders. For example, gross violations of human rights, genocide, and ethnic cleansing have come to be recognized by the governments of the world as unacceptable. So when a country violates protections that guarantee the safety of its people, it risks forfeiting the rights that sovereignty grants, like that promise of non-interference. This is the understanding between countries that has shaped and ordered the modern world. Things weren't always organized this way. 400 years ago, wars raged between countries in Europe over religion, politics, and power. The world was made up of a handful of empires and small kingdoms. Religious and political authorities regularly fought bloody conflicts over territory and authority. Borders were not respected, and the world was often a free-for-all. The concept of sovereignty arose in the mid-17th century during a peace agreement, after one particularly destructive European conflict, the 30 Years' War. It was called the Peace of Westphalia, and it ushered in a world of countries that respected one another's independence. Today, there are almost 200 countries in the world. But outside of those, there are a number of groups, territories, and even governments that advocate or fight for becoming their own country. Not just anyone can claim sovereignty, though, and there can be disagreements as to what is considered a country and therefore eligible for this status. There are no clear rules or procedures for deciding who gets to form a sovereign country, and these efforts are often violent and prolonged. Violations of sovereignty and disputes over what constitutes a violation happen from time to time. Recent examples include Russia's annexation of Ukraine's Crimean Peninsula in 2014, or Iraq's 1990 invasion of Kuwait. Countries can also decide to give up or delegate certain aspects of their sovereignty. For example, many European countries choose to be a part of the European Union, a group with many political and economic advantages. However, joining meant following European Union rules and allowing those rules to supersede national laws. Throughout centuries, sovereignty has provided a central organizing principle that is at the heart of modern international relations. And it is a blueprint of many global institutions, laws, and norms. Overall, the world has become more peaceful, more stable, and less deadly in the centuries since the establishment of sovereignty. But while the concept of sovereignty can be clearly interpreted, its application in the real world is not always so straightforward. Especially in today's modern era, what goes on inside a country can affect us all, and it's not as simple as letting a country go about minding its own business. Refugees, cyberspace, diseases, cash, greenhouse gases. None adhere to lines on a map. Are carbon dioxide emissions a violation of sovereignty? Does an email cross borders? How does sovereignty respond to millions of refugees seeking safety? But governments, economies, militaries, and people are far more interconnected now than they were in the 17th century. The challenge moving forward is how this 400-year-old concept can evolve and adapt to confront modern issues the world faces today.
Now, class, let us discuss about the two uses of sovereign power. Please open your social studies book on page 103, and please only highlight the ones that you can see with highlight in my PowerPoint. So the first use of sovereign power is direct use. People are able to use legislative, administrative, and judicial powers by having a formal convention. This happens in communities that have a small population. Because the community has a small population, so people can meet with each other as a formal convention because the community or the size is just small. Now, if the size is big, then we proceed to the second use, which is indirect use through representative. Because the country is big or the community is big, each community, cities, or provinces, they have representatives voted by the people. So the second one, indirect use through representative. Sovereign power can be used. And this practice is seen in most countries nowadays, such as Britain, Japan, America, and Thailand. Now, class, let us proceed to the three applications of sovereign power. The first one is legislative power, and the people working under legislative power. Letter A, parliament. Who are the people under parliament? We have the Senate or senators and the House of Representatives. And these people are being voted and elected by citizens. The second one, we have administrative power, and the people working under administrative power are the cabinet members, ministries, department, and division. Now, class, for the third application of sovereign power, we have judicial power. And judicial power, we have constitutional court, the court of justice, administrative court, and military court. All the people working under these four divisions are under judicial power. Now, the three parties must work in collaboration. What are these three parties? We have legislative, administrative, and judicial power. They must work in collaboration. Collaboration means together. They are allowed to examine each other's performances to enhance a transparent, good government. Summarize the topic that we have discussed. So the first one, two uses of sovereign power. The first one is direct use, in which we can use this one if the community is small. And the second one is indirect use through representative if the community is big. And countries that use indirect use through representatives are Britain, Japan, America, and Thailand. We also discussed about the three applications of sovereign power, which are number one, legislative power, number two, administrative power, and number three, judicial power. So class, for your activity today, it is in live worksheets. And yes, we have two sections, section A and section B. Don't forget to write your name and your student number. Section A, vocabulary. You drag the right word to the corresponding picture. And section B, paragraph. You drag the right word to fill in or to complete the paragraph. Please do not forget that you can see the link of this activity in our Google Classroom. Now, if you do not know how to do this one, then you have to watch the video, the activity at the end of the video so that you will know what to do. And after you finish answering, you click finish and then click check your answers and your score will appear. Screenshot your score and upload it in social studies album in your classes. Good luck, everyone! Class, we now come to the end of our discussion. If you have any questions, suggestions, comments, or clarification about our topic, please feel free to message me in Google Classroom or in my personal line account, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Stay safe, everyone. I'll see you again on Thursday. Goodbye!